Hello world, this is me again. In my last video, I told you about the severe depression that I had and the impossible choice that I had to make to leave my partner and to come back to Hong Kong. I thought I was going to be able to fix everything, that I was going to rebuild my life and finally be useful again. Once again, I was very wrong, and reality didn't meet expectations at all. That decision ultimately cost me one of the most important people in my life, and this is part of that story. When I got back to Hong Kong, I thought that the depression would finally start to lift, but I was very wrong. It just got a lot worse. I had a contract to be an English teacher at a language center, and for those of you that's ever worked with young children, you know just how demanding such a role can be. The bright lights, the tiny chairs, the vibrant colors, drain me beyond what words can explain. I literally slept my days off away just to conserve energy and had to drag myself out of the bed every day just to survive. But I know that that was a necessity at that point. I had to rebuild my financials and I had commitments to pay back at home. All of that being said, I hated that job, and I wish I found something that was less stressful at that time. But then something slowly started to shift. It felt like I was finally crawling my way out of a deep, dark hole. I started waking up earlier in the morning and having a little bit more energy. I thought this was me recovering from depression, and I made the decision to finally go off my antipsychotics again and just stay on lithium. Now, as I told you in my previous videos, that was one of the worst decisions that I could have made. But at that time, the side effects and the fog and the sedation started to lift, and I thought this was a miracle cure. I thought to myself that I was finally starting to go into recovery. I remember the time when a song came back on the radio and I got goose flesh for the first time in years. Music was back, and one of the small joys that I felt before in life was finally with me again. I got a pair of noise-cancelling headphones and I started walking for miles at night. My step count went through the roof, and I know now that this is also an indication for myself to look out for mania. But at that time, I just thought that I was getting better. I now realize that this wasn't recovery at all. It was basically one of the early stages of mania, and a dangerous logic started taking place. I bought myself a diary and I documented every single aspect of my life at that point. I had a plan for what I wanted to do for the future. I wanted to pay back my partner for every cent that we spent on medical expenses, and then quit my job and disappear completely. I thought to myself that this was the kindest thing to do to stop being a burden to anybody. Now, no one prepares you for how much mania actually lowers your defenses, or what a weapon true loneliness could actually be. But at that time, I met somebody else, and I felt truly seen for the first time in ages. They accepted me for who I was, sickness and all. That person is still in my life, and she's walked through some of the worst times of this illness with me. For that, I will always love her and always be grateful. But I also knew who I was at that time, and I didn't want to be a cheater. I realized I couldn't live alone anymore, and I couldn't live a lie either. So I picked up the phone call and called my partner back in South Africa. I didn't want her to find out that I was seeing somebody else later down the road. So I ended a relationship that lasted over a decade. This was the loss of my anchor and one of the last people that knew me before I got sick. But I knew it was for the best. Even looking back now, I know it was part of my mania, but I'm not blaming my illness. I know that I actually saved her from the storm. The mania, the psychosis, and the hospitalizations that followed through was hell, and I didn't want her to be a part of that anymore. Now, if you're like me and you ever had to watch a relationship like that slowly fade away or die completely, if you ever had to make an impossible choice due to your mental health, just know that it's not a character flaw, it's a tragedy. Right now, I still live with grief and pain for all the choices that I made, but I'm slowly starting to come to a realization of understanding that it was part of being sick. And making these videos are what is giving me some closure, what is giving me the time to rebuild and give myself health back again. So thank you very much for watching. This is me. I'm still here and I'm still trying.